What I need to concentrate on now before the sun goes down in the horizon over there is to set up a shelter. I'm going to opt for a really simple shelter. It's called a kennel. It will be the least amount of energy expenditure. It will also be the least amount of wood that I need to cut down in a forest like this. You don't want to damage the area. And what I'm going to do naturally is use that rock as a reflector. So when my shelter opening is facing the rock, I will have a small fire, only very limited amount of firewood, and that will reflect off, the heat will reflect off the rock and back into my shelter, giving me a very good night's sleep. We'll start in this space by just clearing it. You guys will notice that I'm using a very simple folding saw for this. Quite a safe tool, very efficient tool to use. When I go out on hiking trips, out into the wilderness, out into the mountains, I always carry this with me. It just makes life a lot easier. You can cut down trees like this or materials you need with your knife, but it will take a long time and it will sap more energy. So this is more energy efficient and it does the job perfectly. I've cut my main support for my shelter, which is going to go at an angle like this. And what I need to create now is two pieces equal length from this piece that's going to make an angle for my entrance. Now to judge the middle of a stick, you can use a piece of paracord and fold it double so that you can actually have the middle point. I'll show you how that's done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my left shoelace to build my shelters. Because these ends are sealed, I'm going to cut off the ends to expose the inner fibers. And then again, it's a simple task of removing all the inner fibers to make quite a lot of rope that we can use. Once you have a piece of string, all you do is lay it on top of that piece of wood that we want to cut in half. And once you get the point, that is the length of that piece of stick, simply double up your cordage and that will be half the stick. Laying that again on top, you have your mark of where you need to cut. That is what the entrance of my kennel will look like. It's not very big, but it's going to be very heat efficient, meaning that my body will be able to warm the space inside and keep me warm. To make this stable, I need to make a simple notch on either side to make these slot together and for the centerpiece to sit securely on top. That should do perfectly. With this job done, I can simply get small sticks, attach them on both sides to create a structure, and then whatever green foliage I can get, stack it over the top to make it wind and hopefully waterproof. I've got a few of these sticks that I've cut to different lengths so that they can be stacked on the side of my shelter, creating a widening bit at the bottom. Thatched on both sides, that will give me enough space to crawl into, and that will be my home for tonight. That's my main support frame finished with supports in place, ready for thatching. All these support frames have been interweaved into each other to create a strong structure that pulls the whole thing together. So as you weave it through and you start weaving from the opposite side, it actually have a push down effect, making a very strong structure. Choosing the right thatching material is essential. If you choose it right, it will serve you right. Dark has crept onto me pretty fast. Luckily my shelter is built. I'm going to simply use these dry leaves as a thick insulating mattress in the bottom of my shelter, and that will keep me off the ground to make sure I don't lose body heat by conduction, the earth putting the heat away from my body. That is actually really cozy, and it's hugging me, which means my body heat will be able to warm the shelter and I will have a really good night's sleep.
This is just my survival way, walking in my survival way, wild and free, my survival way.